So it is very important that the person upon whom the work is written himself has approved what has happened. So Ramayana is nothing but truth. Nevertheless, being poets and uh, people of great caliber ourselves, our forefathers who stood for the sake of literature in various parts of India, they came up with various transcreations. We have had over 167 transcreations to Srimad Ramayana. Kamba Ramayanam in Tamil is one of the oldest transcreations in the regional languages. It is called Ramavatara. Though it talks about the entire Ramayana, it is called Ramavatara. We have had Giridhari's Ramayana. We have had Bhanubhattacharya's Nepali Ramayana. We have had Krittivasa's Ramayana. Tyagaraja in his Kritis has mentioned about Rama everywhere in all incidents. Alvar's Pasurappadi Periyavachan Pillai Ramayana. Alvar's verses. Vedanta Deshikan's Paduka Sahasram, Hamsa Sandesham, Abhay Pradhana Saram, so on and so forth. Kalidasa's Raghuvamsham with the commentary of Mallinatha. So, if we keep on telling the list, there are many. We have had Tunjattu Ramanuja Eluttachan's Ramayanam in Malayalam. So where do I stop? So Ramayana has had its own set of transcreations. Nevertheless, there are lot of variations in the Ramayana that we see. In that case, what do we do? So in those cases, we'll have to give prominence to Valmiki Ramayana. For example, in Tulasidasa's Ramacharita people hear that Hanuman had one son called Magaradhwaj. All that is not applicable in Ramayana. So that should not be considered. Itihasa Puranabhyam Vedam Samubha Brahmaye. Like how in UV rule of differentiation in mathematics, if we come across isolate, we give prominence to inverse and then come to logarithmic, right? Likewise, if we see any variations in Ramayana, we'll have to give prominence to Valmiki Ramayana. So V comes first and then comes K for Kamban and others. For example, in Mahabharata, who was the one who took the vow, who was not married? Bhishma, correct? But as per Mahabharata, he was married. Bhishmacharya was married. When we read the original, we'll come to know. For example, in the original Adi Parva, Bhishma goes to the hermitage, to the hut of Matsyagandhi's father. Matsyagandhi was Satyavati. So he goes, and the moment he understands that his father is interested in this lady, but the father is not revealing the truth because he does not want to hurt the son. Anashrami na bhavet. There is a Shruti Vakyam. Without Grihastha, if I've started Grihasthashramam, I should continue Grihasthashramam. I should not be Anashrami. That is why people used to marry for the second time. Anashrami na bhavet. So the father did not reveal his interest to the son. Whereas Devavrata, he was called Devavrata, he came to know about his father's interest. At that point in time, he says, from today, I will be a brahmachari. From today. Put this as, in optimization, we use various constraints and then optimize. So put this as statement 1. That is, he has said, from today, I will be a brahmachari. So it has two implications. Either he was a brahmachari before and he has vowed to be a brahmachari from now on, or he must have been a grihastha before and has vowed to be a brahmachari from now on. Now comes another question. As per the varnashrama, it is brahmachari and then grihastha? No. While being a grihastha itself, you can be a brahmachari. I'll tell you all that as per the Dharma Shastra. Now, so that is one thing. When Bhishmacharya passes away, those days Bhishmacharya had one boon. He can pass away the moment when he thinks. So at that point in time, after Hastinapura came to the hands of Yudhishthira, Bhishmacharya passes away. That point in time, Krishna is playing dice with Rukmini in Dwaraka. Krishna starts shedding tears. Then Rukmini asks, all this is there in Mahabharata, Rukmini asks, why are you crying? Because generally he makes others cry. Why is he crying? So he says, I have lost one great devotee today. And Bhishma is thinking of me. Aham smarami madbhaktam. At that very point in time, Krishna comes back to Hastinapura. He tells, since Bhishmacharya did not have a progeny of his own, he says, Yudhishthira, go take the fire from Bhishmacharya's Agnihotragni. In those days, only married people can perform Agnihotra. So from the ever burning Agnihotragni, bring that fire from Bhishmacharya's house. Because he was a Grihastha, he did Agnihotra. That is why Ramanuja and Sri Bhashyam says Bhishma was married. It is a very important point. Now people will have question, no, I read in Wikipedia. What to do? Wikipedia person did not write Mahabharata. Vyasa wrote by mistake. So Vyasa says he was married. So it becomes very important how much of importance we give to the original. Likewise in Ramayana, there are various transcreations. All, for example, I will be talking about this tomorrow. Anyways, like how they give trailer. I will give today itself. What did Rama do, Lakshmana do before leaving Sita in the forest? What did he draw? Nobody's Rekha he drew. In none of the Ramayanas, he drew a Lakshman Rekha. He said, Vanadevataha Tvai Rakshantu, let the forest deities protect you, which was heard by Jatayu, who came for protection, because Jatayu was the erstwhile friend of Janaki, Sita's father-in-law Dasharatha. That's all. He didn't draw any Lakshman Rekha. In India, it is used to drive away cockroaches. There is no Lakshman Rekha. So we'll get to see all these things tomorrow. That means what? Today also you have come, tomorrow also you should come. Now, getting back to the lecture, Sri Rama, he got married to Sita. Ram was at the age of 12, Sita was at the age of 6. Now you will have a question. How surely you are telling Rama was at the age of 12? I'll tell you the 4 places where Ram's age has been mentioned. We'll have to come to simultaneous equations of algebra to get to this number. First, when Ram has been invited by Vishwamitra through Dasharatha to fight against the demons in the forest, that time Dasharatha says, I cannot send my son. Now Vishwamitra asks, why? At that point in time, Dasharatha says, Una Shodasha Varsho me Ramo Rajiva Rochanaha. My lotus-eyed son Ram is not even 16. Why did he say that? 16 is the eligible age for fighting. It is becoming like an engineering semester. In engineering, what is happening to the semester? We start, we learn, we forget. Start the next semester. This is a continuous process. So, eligible age for fighting in those days was 16. So, Dasharatha says, Una Shodasha Varsho me na yuddha yogya tamyasya. He doesn't have the eligibility to fight because he's less than the age of 16. So, first equation, Ram's age X is less than 16. Okay, it cannot be equal to 16. He says Una. Una in Sanskrit means less than. It cannot be equal to. So, X less than 16. Next, when Kaushalya, she comes to know that Ram has been sent on an exile for 14 years through Ram's mouth itself. She says, for all these 17 years, have I been waiting for this? So, Ram's age X plus 17. X plus 17 is his age now. Next, when Ravana comes in the disguise of a sannyasi to Sita, Sita tells, that's why you should not talk to strangers. Sita gives all the information. I was married, these many chains my father gave, these many bangles, he has to give one more chain. That time she says, at the age of 25, my husband left to the forest and I came along with him. So X was 25 when they started. So it is 14 years. So when Ram has to go back to Ayodhya, it must be 25 plus 14, which is 39. So at 25 years, he has left. Next, finally, Maricha says, when Maricha was driven away by Ram, yesterday we saw Ram killing Subahu and driving Maricha. Maricha was the uncle to Ravana. So Ravana comes and tells him, you go as a golden deer and try to bring the attention of Sita. That time, Maricha says, when he was at the age of 12 itself, he drove me so many miles away. Now he is married to Sita. He will have additional power. Rakaradini namani. Don't tell me a name that starts with Ra. Ravana was happy. Are you telling my name? No, Ram. He says, don't ever say. So Ram was at the age of 12. So Ram was at the age of 12. That is why Dasharatha said he's less than 16. Sita said he was 25 when he left. Because 12 years they were happily married. And the moment he started to the forest, he turned 25 after completing 14. So 24 minus 12 is 12. But comes another question. Kaushalya said, 17 years later I'm sending. That hits us. That is not tallying. What she meant was, Punarjanmena, as per the Dharma Shastram, if a Kshatriya is born, his age is taken as 0. The moment he undergoes the thread ceremony at the age of 7, that will be taken as 0. You are taking rebirth. So that is taken as 0. For example, a person is doing engineering, mechanical engineering. He works for 2 years, Terrentine lab. Next, he does MBA. He goes finance major. What will happen to the 2 years? Irrelevant experience. It is taken as 0 only, right? So, the moment you have thread ceremony, you are taken as 0. So, 17 plus 7, 21. So that is why she says. So Ram was married at the age of 12. Sita was married at the age of 6. Age difference was 6. They lived happily in Ayodhya for 12 years. Ram was now 24. Sita was 18. Ram was turning 25. At that point in time, Dasharatha went and stood before the mirror. There are shlokas where I can even derive hexadecimal numbers. Hexadecimal system 16 potato, then we do 16 into 16. All that can be derived from Valmiki's shlokas. I'll tell you where it comes. Now, Dasharatha went and stood before the mirror. He started combing. But that time he started combing. That time Kalidasa gives a beautiful shloka. Tam karnamulamagatya Rameshrirnyasyata miti Kaikeyi shankhayevaha Paritachatmana jara. Jara means old age. Paritachatmana jara. Because he had old age, he had one single strand of gray. Aduki vlata. Namase tala tumba pu. That time when Shurpanaka comes, Valmiki says, Sukeshi, Tamrakeshi, she had red color hair. I was reminded of this when I came from San Jose, Toronto, Chicago, one lady sat next to me, blue hair. Perumal, for Upanyasam alone, he gives me such examples. Blue hair. Neela doyata madhyastha vidhulleke vapaswara. Perumal, Kodamba Neelam Vidhalani. Somewhere she's associated to the Lord. So, one single strand of hair, Tam Karnamulam Agatya, it came closer to the ear. Ramer Shrir Nyasyatam iti. Abandon the kingdom, give it to your son. You are old, give it to the young people. In India, if it tells to so many people, it will be good. So, Kamban says in Ramayana, Naraittadu Vormayir. One strand of hair turned grey. Then, in those days, though it was called the Raja system, where the Raja's son will become the king, that son's son will become the king, though it was that kind of a system, they were still democratic in approach. They will come and seek the opinion of the people. Today we call it a democracy, but it is only the Raja's son who's ruling. So you see, there is a vice versa approach. So Dasharatha approaches his subjects and asks, is my son eligible to rule? Suddenly, Valmiki says, it was like a thunderous applause that he heard. They all said, Ichha mohi mahabahum Raghuviram Mahabalam Gajena Mahatayantam. Why am I quoting all the shlokas? Is Sanskrit by in itself is a beautiful language to hear. Knowing the meaning is secondary, we should know. But just by hearing, you will be able to relish the beauty of the language. Ichha mohi mahabahum Raghuviram Mahabalam Gajena Mahatayantam Ramam Chhatrabritananam Ichhamohi. For this shloka, A great commentator called Periyavachan Pillai, 800 years before, gives a 10-page commentary. Ichha mohi ichha. Ichha is to wish or desire. Ichha mohi, the people said, see, we wish that Ram becomes the king. The implication is, Raja, we can only wish, but to implement is always in your hands. Ichha mohi mahabahum. His hands indicate what kind of a person is he, or what kind of a valor vests in him. Mahabahum, Ajanubahum, they say. Janu is this particular part. Ajanu, when you stand and keep your arms have to come till your knees. Janubahum Aravinda Dalaya Taksham. Janu is this portion. That is why the ritual performed one day previous to the marriage, the girl's parents gift the groom with an attire or a dress which is below this. That is why it is called Januvasam. If you gift shorts, it's not Januvasam. Pant or vestiyo kurtada, it is Januvasam, because Ajanubahum, it has to extend below the knee. So Januvasam became Janavasam. Janu became Jana. So Ajanubahum, his hands indicate that what kind of a person he is. The Da Vinci Code புஸ்தகத்துல சொல்றாளே, this ratio to this ratio, psi value பேரு, அதெல்லாம் ராமருக்கு பெர்ஃபெக்ட்டா இருக்குமா. His height was 8 feet. Ram's height was 8 feet. Somebody asked, is he an Australian? Why 8 feet? Now, how do you know? In Sundarakandam, Sita asks. Now she is very careful. Before she did not ask the I think you have to increase. Anna. Now Sita asks, before she did not ask the Aadhaar card of Ravana, so she got into a problem. Today she is asking Hanuman, "Oh, tell me how you came from the Rama." That time she asks, "Katham Uru, Katham Bahu." Describe Ram's thigh and describe Ram's arm. Isn't it a nasty question? Ramar Kalanambodu Hanuman, look at my thigh and what she meant was describe Ram's beauty. That time Hanuman starts. Vichatushkam, he's 2 into 4. His height is 8 feet in children. 8 feet is his height. We all look at the photo and say, Sita Pankulla Markan, our 8 na, because Hanuman says, Tulya Shila Vayovrittam, Tulya Abhijana Lakshanam, Ragavor Hati Vaidehin Tanchayam Asitekshana. They matched in almost every aspect. That means even in height they should have been at a certain ratio. Yeah. That means Sita herself would have been 6 feet. If he's 8 feet, she has to be at least 6 feet. Yeah. So 9 gajan, 11 gajan na. Ichha mohi mahabahum. Ram's arms are so nice. Raghuviram mahabalam. He shows what kind of a power he has. Gajena mahatayantam. When he sits on the elephant and that elephant comes on a ride, when you go to Dashara festival in Mysore, you will be able to have a glimpse of it. Forget Mysore, you go to Kerala. We had a recent yatra to Kerala. We took about 90 people to Kerala temples, 13 Divyadeshams and 13 Abhimanasthalams, 90 people, 3 buses, 7 days, 6 nights, 180 luggages. Iva vandu Perumal Kalangara Mandala, Iva Panamara. Mama, Karthala or Padavia, Sangal or Padavia, Ure, Porum, and Karthala, if you go to Kerala temple, every half an hour, Guru Ayyappan will have a change in dress. So will this mommy. So, in Kerala, we used to turn. One elephant used to go. In the Bakambata, or elephant. Namur Nai, Poramar, or elephant. Gajena Mahatayantam. When Ram will sit on the elephant and come. As per the Shastram, I'm telling you why Shastram, whether we follow it or not, we should know it, right? So, knowledge is, whether we implement it, put it to practice is a second question. But at least it will serve the purpose somewhere. As per Shastram, you cannot sit on the elephant without a silk cloth. So that is why in Srirangam, every morning the elephant goes to Amma Mandapam, gets water in a golden vessel, there will be a silver cloth over it. Whereas in Kerala tradition, Nambudiri tradition, they don't have that Shastra. I don't know why. So the Purohita will sit on the elephant and that Kalasham will be on that elephant. Different traditions. So Gajena Mahatayantam, but Ram used to have a cloth because the elephant hair is very, very strong and it look as if it's horripilating. So it may prick Ram. Gajena Mahatayantam. But the people say we don't want him to come just like that. There should be an umbrella that gives him shade. Ramam Chhatravritananam. So Dasharatha was happy that the people were happy that if Ram is being coronated as a heir apparent, they are all happy. Whereas Kamban says, when the king asked whether my son is eligible, that time people say, Unnum Neerinum Avanaye Uhappar. More than water, people like Ram. Why water? I can tell that only in California. They say for the last 5 years, no rain. Yeah, so you know the importance of water. In restaurants, they cannot keep water bottle without asking, it seems. It's a rule to come. Because water is so important. So, unnum neerinum avanaye uhappar. Neer is water. Kannadadalli heduvaga neer kudibeku anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Right? Drink. ಕುಡಿಕಣಂ ತಂಡೀನು ಶುಲ್ವಂ. But here they say unnum neerinum. Eating water. But we say, Api chapteda. What we mean is drinking. But we don't get that into that nitty-gritties in that in the porno. Even Andal in the second passaram, Andal who nurtured Sangat Tamil, one of the oldest forms of Tamil that belong to Madurai, she says, வையத்து வாழ்வீர்கள் நாமும் நம் பாவைக்கு செய்யும் கிடிசைகள் கேளீரோ பார்க்கடலுள் பையத் துயின்ன வலவனடிபாடி நெய்யுண்ணோம் பாலுண்ணோம் நாட்காலே நீராடி மெய்யிட்டெழுதோம் மலரிட்டு நாமுடியோம் செய்யாதன செய்யோம் தீக்குறளை சென்னோதோம் ஐயமும் பிச்சையும். That time she says, வையத்து வாழ்வீர்கள் நாமும் நம் பாவை